Mario Kart 9, huh? Interesting. Welcome, friends, to the second episode of I Swear This Series Isn't Dead. Wait, that's every series. And we have a beast to tackle today. That beast likely lives in your pocket right now, or your hands. As long as you continue to watch this flawless content, I don't care. The beast is Mario Kart Tour. After waiting years and years for a Mario Kart 9, we got it. Kinda. Making the transition to mobile is definitely interesting, but this series isn't titled bland or interesting. That name's too good for my standards. It's great or hate. So is Mario Kart Tour, the mobile experiment, great or hate? The first thing we have to mention is the character roster. This roster is so split that it could honestly be its own great or hate. But since we're on the great segment of this video, let's talk about what it does right. For starters, Tour brought back some fan favorites. This game brought back Diddy Kong, Birdo, and Funky Kong, three characters that have been missing in action since Mario Kart Wii. Not only that, but it also brought in some great new characters. Tour added Pauline, twice for some reason, we'll get to that later, Dixie Kong, Monty Mole, Peachette, and the four main bros, which just makes me so happy. Tour's greatest accomplishment, however, is the track list. Mario Kart Tour has the largest amount of tracks in any Mario Kart game by far. Not only is there a good selection, despite no Wii and 8 tracks, get on that, but every track is essentially 4 tracks. Each have a reverse, trick, and reverse trick variant. Each track is a 4-in-1, and with every tour, these tracks cycle around, which brings a lot of replayability. Also, items were really well done here. Like Double Dash, every character has their own special item, and they even added new ones. Bomb-Omb, Mushroom, and Banana Cannons, Coin Box, Ice Flower, and more. It's very amusing that there can be genuine tier lists made for this game. The online also functions really well, but what does this game do wrong? But before we get into the shortcomings of this game, I just want to briefly announce that effective immediately, I am adding a new segment to Greater Hate. This will be the meh segment. This is where I'm going to take topics that I don't believe are good enough to be in the great portion, but I also don't believe are bad enough to be in the hate portion. I'm doing this so I can get rid of scenarios of why didn't you bring this topic up, or why didn't you bring this topic up. So yes, here is the first meh segment of Greater Hate. The microtransactions aren't that bad. Now hear me out here. Yes, subscribing to the Gold Pass for $4.99 per month is BS. That's why I exploit my subscriptions and get it while it's valuable. Yes, the special packs are horribly overpriced, but you don't need them to progress in the game, and Tour is pretty fair with the rewards it gives you. The microtransactions are only a problem if Tour was a pay-to-win game, which it isn't. Unfortunately though, I'm fairly neutral on Tour's new tracks. New York Minute is alright, Tokyo Blur is bland and boring, made even worse by not being named Tokyo Drift. It's by far the worst one. Paris Promenade is decent and looks pretty good, same goes for London Loop, but Vancouver Velocity is in the quintuple S tier. One of the best songs in Mario Kart history. It's really pretty for a track on mobile, it's designed really well, and the scenery is really cool. It's one of the most unique tracks in Mario Kart. This isn't in the great segment, however, because of how bad Tokyo Blur is. Oh yeah, and the RMX tracks are alright. Let's get the most obvious point out of the way first. This game controls like complete doo-doo. I never thought there would be a Mario Kart game that controls as bad, if not worse than Double Dash, but here we are. Sliding your finger to drift is a big pain that takes a lot of getting used to, but it's so easy to accidentally throw items. Letting go of a drift back with your finger even a little bit just lets one rip. Sure, you can play with automatic drifting, but why would you use that if you're over the age of 7? This is why I hate time trials in this game. Previously, I did hint on the flaws of the roster, so what went wrong? There's 2 offenders here, but the main one is the sheer amount of cloned characters. Let's briefly go over the amount of playable Marios in this game. There's Mario, Baby Mario, Metal Mario, Musician Mario, Hakama Mario, Santa Mario, Happy Mario, Builder Mario, Ice Mario, carbon copy of Metal Mario, Classic Mario, carbon copy of regular Mario, and Chef Mario. That's 11 playable Marios. Hi audience, this is Future Editing Me here. I just want to say that what Past Me has just said is actually wrong and outdated. There's actually even more than 11 playable Marios now. Yeah, it's bad. And he's not the only character to get this treatment, but another roster problem is the rarities. What do I mean by this? Well, there are 3 rarities: common, rare, and high-end. Here's the roster's balance problem. There's way too few commons and way too many high-ends. Over half of the roster is high-end, and the same goes for karts and gliders too. It's horribly unbalanced. We've seen the good and we've seen the bad, but which one beats the other? It's time for the decision. Great or hate? And I've made my decision. Mario Kart Tour is... great! Bet you didn't expect a mobile game to be so good, but here we are. Mario Kart Tour is stunningly one of the better Mario Kart games, and here's why. Tour is a gacha game, and gacha games suck, so Tour needed a lot of good to add in order to crawl out of its hole, and it did. The most controversial thing about Tour is its roster, so how did it make up for its flaws? The clone characters are lazy, but they are aesthetically different and have their own animations. Combine this with all the good of Tour's roster, and you have a really good roster, possibly the best in the franchise with its variety. The microtransactions also weren't that bad, rewards are forgiving, pipes have had good deals, and the gold pass isn't that bad if you haven't committed to fully subscribing to it. But the nail in the coffin for hate was the track lineup. This is the uncontested best in the series. No Mario Kart game even comes close. There's so many tracks and each one has so much variety. And did I ever mention that this game has 3DS Rainbow Road, the best Mario Kart track ever? And with the fact that each track is a 4-in-1, yeah, there's no contest. With its big roster and amazing tracks, Tour defied all odds. Mario Kart Tour is great. Well, this is a greater hate I've never wanted to make. With the newest generation of games being on the newest generation of hardware, I had high expectations for Pokemon Sword and Shield and where it would take the Pokemon series, and the result of it was... to say the least. Next greater hate, Pokemon Sword and Shield.